Hey guys, this is Nathan, and welcome back to TechNodeFirmaCraft. So, we've got a few things to update you guys on. First off, it is spring now, so we've gotten a lot of stuff planted. The jute is actually up to 31% growth, so yeah, it's doing good. We have squash over here, sugarcane, and the sugarcane keeps on popping out of the ground. So, yeah, I don't think we're quite far enough south still for the sugarcane. Now, it's not really all that big of a deal. We don't really need the sugarcane. Over here, we've got rye. And then over here, Bloody went ahead and leveled off a little space and these stupid lighting glitches. So we have a little lily pad bridge here, which I suppose I'll make a nicer bridge here shortly. But this comes over to an area that has a very large garden in it. So Bloody has been doing a lot of research into how fertility works in TerraFirmaCraft, and one of the first things that he told me was, if you place down dirt, or if you say level dirt or something, wait for the grass to spread onto it, because if you take dirt without grass on it and till it, there is no fertility in that soil. But if you let the grass spread, then it is fully fertile. So that is a really good tip for anybody that is going to be planting a large garden, especially one where you've leveled a space off. So we've got that. We also have basically everything that there is to have for smithing now. So we have a red steel anvil now. We have some red steel here, some regular blue steel, some weak blue steel, which is just going to take a little bit of more smithing to get that straightened out. But we have a few other things here that we have not dealt with yet. We've got bauxite for aluminum. We have osmium, which we can smelt in our steel furnace, and that will give us these osmium ingots. And then there's the other oddball ones like the rose gold. This is nickel. We've got black bronze, lead. So there's a few things here. We've got steel. One thing that I am not seeing here is iron. So we may have to get some stuff going on that here really soon. But so now that we have all of this stuff, we are going to look at getting into some of the higher tech stuff. So the first thing that you can see here is we have this white tower up here. Now, in the last season of TechNodeFirmaCraft, I built these towers for wind generators, and I really like the look of them, so we are going to be making them again. Now, I did make this face towards us, and I think I want it to face the other way. Doesn't really matter. I think for purposes of power transmission, it will work better facing the other direction. But we're going to have to get that thing working. So in order to make that, first off, we need a kinetic dynamo. Now this kinetic dynamo takes 2 steel plates, a black steel sheet, 2 pieces of redstone, and a copper wire coil. Now this copper wire coil takes LV wire coils and an iron ingot, and the LV wire coils take 4 copper ingots around a treated stick. That will make the 8 of them that we need for that. So first off, we're going to make this. So we're going to place our copper around there. We get those. And I don't have any iron ingots. So what I'm probably going to have to do is use the bloomery here. Yeah, we don't have any blooms in there. And we don't have any blooms in there either. So yeah, I am going to have to make up a little bit of iron here in the bloomery, and once I get that done, I'll be back and we can finish out this kinetic dynamo. Well, I've gotten a whole bunch of iron made up, and so now we can go ahead and make this dynamo. So we had the low voltage wire coils already. We need to put those around a wrought iron ingot. Now this one I accidentally hit an extra time, so it says it's been worked, but it still works for the coil. So once we have the coil, then we need some redstone steel sheets and the black steel sheet. So put that there. We've got a black steel sheet, some regular steel sheets, and 2 pieces of redstone. So that'll make our kinetic dynamo. Now to power this thing, we want the improved windmill. We could use the regular windmill or even the water wheel. But we want the improved windmill. It puts out more power. So the way to make this is with improved windmill blades around a steel ingot. The improved windmill blades are tough fabric on a windmill blade. The windmill blade is a couple of pieces of treated wood planks and some treated sticks. And then this tough fabric is industrial hemp fiber around a regular stick. And yeah, we've been getting tons of the industrial hemp fiber from over here at the hemp farm. So we have our 8 improved windmill blades here, and then we're going to put a steel ingot there, and that's going to make our improved windmill blade. So there's that. So next up, we want something to use the power generated by this dynamo. So we want to get into mechanism so we can start doing ore doubling. And so the first thing we need in mechanism is the Metallurgic infuser. So this thing takes 2 blast furnace bricks from TerraFirmaCraft. Now this is rather expensive, but it takes 2 of those, then it takes 4 steel ingots, 2 pieces of redstone, and an osmium ingot, and actually I don't have enough redstone on me. So I have gotten a little bit of redstone from killing spiders, but the majority of this redstone is coming from the stuff that Bloody has mined up. We have some cryolite in here. So that is pretty cool. And so now what we need to do is make that Metallurgic infuser. So I have a crucible here, and to turn that into the blast furnace, we need to surround that crucible with wrought iron double sheets. And that is part of why this is so stinking expensive. So we've made that up. Now we need the osmium ingot in the middle, we need redstone on each side, a blast furnace top and bottom, and steel ingots around the outside, and there's our Metallurgic infuser. So now what we want to do is set up our dynamo up here. We'll have to run some power lines down over to this area so that we can power that Metallurgic infuser. And yeah, hopefully everything will work out good here. So I'm going to get this all set up, and I'll be back in just a second. So I finally have the Metallurgic infuser set up. You can see it is filling with power. And while I was working on that, I decided, yeah, let's go ahead and build that bridge. So I've got the bridge set up here. It's kind of a plain design. Got some, I can't even remember what kind of logs these are. Douglas fir logs. They go down to the bottom of the river here. Got some claystone fences, or cobblestone walls, claystone cobblestone walls, and then I used these, I don't even know how to pronounce that word, but I used those kind of bricks, and I used carpenter's blocks to be able to get half slabs out of them. And then I also used the wonderful little glowstone trick, so you can see if I break this one, we get a piece of glowstone, a carpenter's block, and one of the bricks. So yeah, we don't have to worry about lighting making this look ugly. So you just shift right click that onto the carpenter's block and it will act as a light source, kind of like a torch or anything else. So then I also put these power poles, I guess you could call them, on top of the bridge. These are kind of temporary because right now we're running these low voltage wires, and they have to be pretty close together. I think I figured it out at like 14 blocks between these. I can't remember. Might have to do a little checking in my old playthrough. But so we've got this running down over to the Metallurgic infuser now, so we can start making some of the other things that we need for mechanism. So one thing that we can do with this Metallurgic infuser is we can make steel. I think we can make steel dust with it. So we have steel dust from mechanism, and we can make that from a crusher, or we can take enriched iron with coal or charcoal or whatever, and then that'll make the steel dust. The enriched iron is with carbon and wrought iron. So if we have a lot of wrought iron, we can make steel real easy. But the main reason we are going to be using this thing is to make our enriched alloys. And these are very useful, but they're also rather expensive because they take diamond dust. Now, diamond dust, we need tiny diamond dust piles to make these, or we can crush diamonds. Well, either way, yeah. So the tiny piles come from our smaller ones, which are most common diamonds when we're mining are these chipped ones, and they give 1 dust each, and it takes 2 of them to make 1, so every one of those dusts takes 8 of these. Yeah, that's a pretty big deal. We're going to have to get the stuff to make the compressed diamond dust as soon as we can, which is the enrichment chamber. We're also going to need to get some things for iron production. Actually, this takes steel, so we're going to have to go even further than that. So we can use the blast furnace. Well, we'll just go here. So to do this, we need to get the iron dust from mechanism, so we need the enrichment chamber at a bare minimum. So I'm going to have to see what it's going to take to make this stuff, and yeah, I will be back once I figure out what we need and whether we need to do some crafting beforehand. So I am getting ready to make up a blue steel hammer so that we can make the steel casing that we need for this enrichment chamber. But while I'm waiting for that to finish heating up, I noticed a few new blocks here in mechanism, and one of them that I found was this boiler. So this is a multi-block structure. It takes a few things here. We have the superheating element, pressure disperser, boiler casing, boiler valve, and then there's also turbine blocks here somewhere. But no, that's reactor stuff. But there's, yeah, here the turbine casing. There's also the electromagnetic coil, rotational complex. Somewhere there is a blade for this. There's the turbine rotor. I'm not sure where the blade is. Oh, there it is, the turbine blade. So I found out that these will really be good for producing power here soon. So yeah, we're going to have to take a look at that coming up here, but we need to make ourselves a hammer, right? Oh, that's weak blue steel. Darn it! What am I doing? Okay, so, yeah. That is weak blue steel, and I need regular blue steel. Well, what can we do with this? I think we need a black steel with it? Yeah. So, we have no black steel either. Well, I guess this is one time to show this. So, I've always just kind of tossed these around to cool them off. Well, this thing is orange. We can dump it into this barrel of water, and you can see it cooled off really fast, and it is raining right now, even though it doesn't look like it. But that would generally use some water. So, yeah, I am going to have to make up a hammer here, and since the blue steel seems to be in short supply, I'm going to make a red steel instead. So I do have to have this red steel hammer in order to be able to make that steel casing. So if we go back here and take a look at the casing, or the enrichment chamber, this steel casing, we need the red or blue steel hammer, a couple of steel plates, and an osmium ingot. Then also we need these red steel double ingots, which, thank you very much, Bloody. He had these made up for me already. I really appreciate that. Then we need a little bit of redstone and this advanced control circuit. Now the advanced control circuit, this is where our metallurgic infuser here is going to come in really handy. But so we have the advanced control circuit. It takes a basic control circuit and some enriched alloy. Now the enriched alloy is redstone infused into steel. The basic control circuit is redstone infused into osmium. So I think we can do this right away. So we take an osmium ingot and a piece of redstone, and I think this is going to take all 10 of the redstone to turn this osmium into the basic control circuit. Now we have ways of improving this to use less power, do things faster, whatever. It doesn't really matter. You know, we can let this sit at the moment. But yes, it did take all of the redstone. So we're going to drop in another piece of redstone, drop in our steel here, and this should probably use the 10 redstone again for 1 steel ingot to turn it into an enriched alloy. So we are going to have to process just a little bit more of the redstone here, and I think I'm just going to take one more. This will make... That's not what I wanted to do. So this will make 8 redstone dust out of 1 of those cryolite ore. But so we do have that. We have our redstone now. So this is getting... Oh, darn it, that's weak red steel. Oh, never mind on that. I'm going to have to make up some black steel. So I don't exactly remember how to make that, but basically what I'll do is I will make that up. I might bring you guys in for a little bit of that. But yeah, I need to get some red steel, and I need to get... Whoop. Oh, I did not need to do that. But anyway, we can make this real quick so that we've at least got a little bit. So there's our advanced control circuit. We have the red steel double ingots. We have the redstone. What we are missing now is to be able to turn these, the steel sheets and osmium ingot, into the steel casing. So yep, I'm going to make up some red steel here, and I'll be back in a little bit. Well, I may have been in error when I said that cooling ingots in the barrels used water, but I was pretty sure that it did. And it may have been because I was cooling actual ingots and not, ingots in ceramic molds. But we need to make up some black steel here. So in order to do that, I guess it's the weak black steel. In order to do that, we need black bronze, we need some nickel, and we need some steel. So it's, the easiest way to do this is with 2 parts black bronze, or 1 part black bronze, 1 part nickel, and 2 parts steel. And apparently we don't have enough heat here to melt the nickel. Oh, that could have been disastrous. Okay, so we're going to cool that down real quick. Whoops. Let's pull that back out of there. Okay, the nickel still is not melting. Okay, there it finally melted. So the nickel has to get pretty hot before it melts, apparently. So we'll add another black bronze to that, which it's still unknown, the alloy right now. And then we'll add 4 steel. And I don't know how hot this has to get before it melts. And we better check our coal level here. And actually, let's go ahead and put some of these ceramic molds in here. And we've got 1 piece of steel so far in there. Still unknown on what it is. 2 pieces of steel. 3. And here in a second we'll have our 4th one, and this should turn into weak black steel. So weak steel, excuse me. So now we can pour this stuff out, and we'll have our weak steel ingots. Now I believe these weak steel get combined then with pig iron. We'll weld those together. That makes weak black steel. Then we have to refine that. And yeah, it's kind of a lengthy process. But I'm going to get some of that done. After we get some black steel, we will combine that with the weak red steel here, and that will give us a regular red steel ingot. So I'm going to get that done, and I'll be back in a little bit. So I've finally got the red steel hammerhead here, so we're going to go ahead and make up our red steel hammer. Then we're going to make this steel casing, and then finally we are going to make the enrichment chamber, which takes, once again, our red steel double ingots, redstone, and this advanced control circuit. So there we go, enrichment chamber. So this will give us the ability now to finally double our ores. We're just going to face this guy this way, I guess. And we need to go grab one power cable and a connector. So we can connect multiples on the low voltage. I can't remember on the medium voltage, but I know the high voltage can only be one. I think the medium voltage can take multiples as well. So the enrichment chamber here, we just need power, and what we can do is we can take our piles of ore. Now these limonite piles, those are made by taking either 4 rich limonite to make 3 limonite piles, or 4 poor limonite to make 1, or 2 regular limonite to make 1. And yeah, this is just basically saying these have 100 units in each one. So it's like an iron ore for all intents and purposes. So if we take this rich limonite, or this limonite pile, and drop it into the enrichment chamber, it will start using up power, slowly running through here, and we will end up with 2 iron dust. So this is pretty nice. So this iron dust, this is finally what we've been trying to get to for quite some time. So the iron dust, if we look at the uses on this, we can make this insulating glass, which will allow us to make our high voltage wire connectors, but we can smelt this directly in our furnace here into iron ingots. No more using the bloomery or anything like that, and on top of that, we are doubling our output. Now, Mechanism gives us the ability to quintuple our output, but it's a huge amount of resources and input and infrastructure to be able to get to that quintupled ore production. Tripled ore production is really easy. Quadrupled is a little bit more difficult, but yeah, for now, this makes me feel really good that we can just take this iron dust, drop it in there. Those will show up here in the hopper in just a little bit, and yeah, we can make iron really easy. Now, there are other uses for this stuff, and yeah, we can make gas upgrades or the electrolytic core. This is going to be used in the electrolytic separator. We'll be needing that after a while. We have the engineer's workbench to make buckshot. The blast furnace can turn this iron ore dust directly into pig iron, which right now we've been using iron ingots, I believe, to get the pig iron. And of course the arc furnace with a little bit of coke dust can make steel with that. But yeah, we've got our iron dust now. We can make doubled ores there. That's really nice. So I'll probably make a little bit of wrought iron here, and then I'll come back and we'll look at a little bit more stuff. So what I have found out here on the water in the barrels with ingots is that if you put a hot ingot in the barrel, it will use a little bit of water to cool it down, and it's based on the temperature that the water or the ingot is as to what amount of water is going to be used. Now, if you put an ingot in a mold in this barrel, it does not use any water. So that's kind of an odd mechanic that they would have it for some things and not others, but whatever. So the next thing that I want to take a look at is the crusher. So the crusher here, it takes a piston, 2 black steel sheets, 2 black steel hammerheads, a steel casing, 2 pieces of redstone, and a basic control circuit. So the piston here is basic recipe from Minecraft: cobblestone, redstone, a wrought iron ingot, and some planks. So we've got all that stuff here. So we'll go ahead and lay this out, and we get our piston. Now here's the recipe for our crusher. So we'll go ahead and place all of this stuff up here. Now, I don't have a very good smithing bonus, but for these kind of things, it doesn't matter because we're not going to get them back. So there we go with the crusher. So the crusher we're going to set over here for now, and much like the enrichment chamber here, we're going to go ahead and supply it with a little bit of power. So there we go. We will start getting power into this thing. And yeah, we need much better power supply than just one of those windmills, but we need to get a lot more materials first. So we're just going to let this slowly do its thing, but now what we can do with that crusher is very impressive, actually. So if we take a look at, well, let's take a look at the weak red steel, I think is one of them. So if we look at the recipe on weak red steel, normally this would take the bloomery to make the weak red steel, or I think you can also do it in the crucible. Yeah, whatever. But what we're going to want to do is make this weak red steel dust. And that takes high carbon black steel dust, brass dust, and rose gold. So the high carbon black takes pig iron dust and weak black steel. That takes bronze dust, steel dust, nickel. Yeah, so yeah, this just keeps on going. The crusher can make the steel dust out of steel, or we can use the enriched iron with carbon in the Metallurgic infuser, which we have this thing already. And by the way, the uses on this steel dust, I think we can smelt it. Well, it smelts into pig iron, but yeah, we can smelt it. Arc furnace will give us steel, but so we can use this crusher to make the powders of various ingots here. Like, for instance, our black bronze, which is used in the production of weak black steel. So we can use the black bronze and the nickel, and I can't remember, I think it was just steel as the other one, and we can go ahead and make black bronze, weak black bronze dust, or black steel. So let's take a look at black steel. And we have the dust. So there's the weak black steel dust, and then we have high carbon black steel dust. Now the high carbon black steel dust we can't do anything with right now because we have to have, we can use it for crafting the weak red and weak blue steel, but the uses on this goes to high carbon blue. And the high carbon blue, I think we need the immersive engineering blast furnace for this, or oh no, we need the purification chamber first to turn it into the high carbon blue steel amalgam, and then this stuff gets put in the immersive engineering blast furnace to turn into a blue steel ingot. So yeah, this is we're a little bit away from actually being able to do that, which kind of sucks, but we can use it for other things. And the crusher is also the next step in tripling our ores. So we can look at the recipes here in this thing, and you can see there are a few things, like our limestone rock will give us 3 flux instead of 2, so that's pretty nice. But somewhere here, our scapolite actually gives us more than 4. That's really nice. We can turn seeds into biofuel. And it may take me a while to find the recipe here. So we definitely needed it for the diamond dust. So that's something that we definitely needed. We can turn wool back into string, which is our only way to get decent string. Pumpkins into biofuel, that would be a bad use of our pumpkins. Graphite powder, 6 instead of 4. It may take me a while to find this. Let me find it and I'll be right back. Alright, so here is one of them. So we have these clumps that come from mechanism. These can be crushed into dirty copper dust. That dirty copper dust then gets run through the, whatever this, can't even remember what we built. But whatever this machine here is, we run that through there and it cleans it up. I guess we can look at the uses of the enrichment chamber, and that'll make regular copper dust. You can smelt that into copper ingots, but we want to look at how do we get the copper clumps. So the way that we get that is using a pile, just like we did on the limonite, in the purification chamber, and this takes oxygen, which can come from either a tank from the electrolytic separator or flint. And it takes a lot of flint to do this, so it is a use for the flint, but it is not a viable option. We have to use the electrolytic separator. But you can see that makes 3 of the clumps, and then we run it through the crusher 1 for 1 and through the enrichment chamber 1 for 1, and that will give us 3 of the dusts per pile. So that's what we're going to be trying to get to, but we're not going to get there today because I do believe we are out of time. So I'm going to say thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to give a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. If you have any ideas about what I've been doing or anything that you'd like to see, go ahead and leave that down in the comments, and I will see you next time. Bye!